Hi, all cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 16 of Award Season Review Season 3. 97 reviews coming to you in 97 days, covering many of the films in vying for that big Oscar contention in early 2025. As many of the films I talk about are still possibly in theaters or getting re released, all information I'm giving to you is current within 7 days of its recording. I'll be giving you the critical response, the box office information, insight into its awards run so far, my predictions on nominations and wins based on where we are in the year, and as always, these reviews are spoiler free. Also, make sure you check out my website, cinephilemike.com, where you can find the ever important and beloved Where Can I Watch It 2024 spreadsheet, where you can track the nominations and wins for all the films I'm discussing here, all the ones I may not get to, and most importantly, see, hey, how do I watch this? As you can hear, I don't fully have my voice back, but we're getting a little stronger every day. So we're going to keep it moving because I want to be here for you. Thank you all for still continuing on this journey while I'm not 100% there. So we are in a new theme week. It is Doc Week. We are looking at 7 documentaries this week vying for that awards contention. Some of these have already won at other ceremonies, such as the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards, the British Independent Film Awards, the International Documentary Association Awards, and the varied critic circles. Some are still hoping to hear about that glorious Oscar slot, and they are all worthwhile to hear about. So, for the second day of Doc Week today, I am discussing movies Dahomey. Written and directed by Diop, this film is still screening in selected theaters and thus far posts a worldwide total of $527,149, with 432,381 of that coming from the international box office and the remaining $94,768 coming from the domestic box office. On Rotten Tomatoes, like the other documentaries I have discussed this season, it is riding a critical high. As of now, the film sits with a 99% critical rating made up of 80 reviews. And while Rotten Tomatoes reports that the film has less than 50 audience reviews posted, it is not enough yet to determine a score on the popcorn meter. So we'll have to see where that number pops up as award season moves on. Thus far, Dahomey was nominated for Best Documentary at the Gotham Awards and the International Documentary Association Awards. Additionally, it was nominated for Best Narration and Best Historical Documentary at the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards, and it was also one of the top 5 documentaries of the year named by the National Board of Review. So, what is this film about? Well, we have to go back over a century to start talking about it. During the invasion of the Kingdom of Dahomey in 1892 by French colonial troops, thousands of royal treasures and artifacts were taken back to France, and there they remained for over 100 years. In 2021, after a campaign by the Beninese, the French returned only 26 of the thousands of artifacts stored in the museums to Benin. At the start of the film, we are just given some exterior shots of France before we are swept into the basement of a Parisian museum and then thrust into black as a haunting voice. Think a much slightly deeper Thanos from the MCU in a pit, where we hear the inner thoughts of one of the pieces of artwork. Now, in the less commonly spoken language of Fon, we learn that these are the supposed thoughts of King Gezo, one of the rulers of Dahomey in the 1800s. After this voiceover, where we see a little bit of these thoughts, we see the statue of the king being carefully prepared and packaged, and oddly worth mentioning, being packaged face down into a crate to be sent back. We're then thrust into the darkness again, and we follow the king and the other 25 pieces back to Benin, where they are put on display in a local museum. And then once there, we will follow to a local college where students start debating the return of these pieces and what this both means and doesn't mean for them as a people. As this occurs and we hear the various viewpoints, we are treated to images of many of the 26 treasures in the exhibit. Now, given that this whole film is a total of about 65 minutes, not including the credits, I'll end the summary there because I don't really want to spoil too much else of what comes out of it. I have to say, in this short time, Diop crafts a very short but impactful history lesson that veers towards the fantastical with the elements that they chose to include. shot primarily in a spy shot style. There are no talking head interviews with anyone, no staged moments per se, and we watch the events play out. The one theatrical element, the constant narration by the king, his disembodied voice provided by Mackenzie Orsell, is almost where the film veers from documentary to narrative as we hear the thoughts of this individual reliving their past and frustrated at how they're being treated now. He even references at one point, they have named me 26. Don't they know my name? I have to give a lot of credit to the sound team led by designer Nicholas Becker. They give an impactful character in the way they transpose Orsel's voice as our narrator. The whole approach is interesting and only capitalized when we get to the debate amongst the college students. Now, while this debate I read was organized by Diop, it really makes no less of an impact when the students are sharing their views about colonizers, what happened to their country, what's happening now, what happened in the past. Is this the best option for what they're doing? Does this really correct the issues of the past? We're only getting 26. What about the remainder? As we see from the art and learn about the additional history, there's a real darkness to this that Diop's documentary only scratches the surface in its short runtime and really makes for an interesting prelude to a deeper historical dig. So, could this film continue to move on to be an Oscar contender for Best Documentary? Possibly. It is in the conversation and has been one of the front runners for a nod. So, when we hear that shortlist in a couple of weeks, Dahomey may be among them. Many other experts are predicting it will grab one of the five slots. Aside from that, I don't really feel there's enough with this one to enter other categories. All in all, history fans will be enticed by these debates of the students. Diop leaves you wanting more of the knowledge of this time in history, as well as provoking thoughts of how people try to correct the wrongs of their ancestors. What's preventing me from wanting to be high top like the other critics at the 99%, why this one for me is a 4-star film, is again, it really just scratches the surface, and I think would have been willing to spend more time with this topic if we had gone a little bit deeper. This almost seems like an outline of a much more longer project Diop hopes to do, and I do hope that we get to see a little bit more about this topic. So, if you would like to catch Dahomey, it is currently available to stream on the International Documentary Association's website if you are a member until the end of the calendar year, till the end of 2024. There's no other streaming information available at this time. There are still some select screenings in theaters, so that box office number can grow. Uh, and if should it get one of the nominations, it will probably start to pop up more often. So you have some options. Okay, 16 down, 81 to go. As always, if you like what you heard here, please do me a favor, click that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, like the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Lots of great information on my website, cinephilemike.com. As we get to the holidays, one of my theme weeks is Feel Good Week. What are the Feel Good award contending films you want to hear me talk about? Flow, Moana 2, Wicked. Let me know. I tried to create a poll, but I guess you can't create polls in Facebook anymore. So comment on the posting that I did. And, it's going to be great. We're going to dive into all of these awards films. But until next time, everyone, this is Cinephile Mike, who's going to go get some more tea for this voice, saying take a break and watch something new.